Moyle.
Yeah.
Fellow Toastmasters and most welcome guests, say goodbye with a smile. This is a eulogy. The statistics on death are quite impressive. 1 out of 1 people die. George Bernard Shaw. On a fateful October night in 1995, while dining at Bella's restaurant, I was writing some notes. A curly, black-haired man with an athletic build came and sat next to me, tapped me on the wrist, pointed to what I was writing, and said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I am writing a speech for Toastmasters." He said, "My name is Brian." I said, "My name is Janet." And we chit-chatted at Bella's. He suggested that we go to Burns and enjoy some escargot as an appetizer. So we did, and we talked, and he spoke much about his childhood. He said he hit his tooth on the diving board as a kid. Funny, so did I. He said he used to eat fried clams and peppermint ice cream at Howard Johnson's on Hillsborough Avenue. Interestingly, I did the same. In fact, one time I was eating at Howard Johnson's as a kid, and my order for the fried clams and the peppermint ice cream had not arrived yet. So the waitress came over and apologized and said, "I'm very sorry, but we gave your order to that boy over there. And he comes here every Sunday with his father after fishing." He talked on about how he lettered in baseball and tennis at Jesuit. I was on the golf team at King High School. He went to University of Knoxville in Tennessee on a tennis scholarship. He got his BA in history. I went to Florida State University and got my BA in communication. He was born November 2nd. Do you know what November 2nd is, Janet? I said, no. He said, "That is All Souls Day." I said, "What is All Souls Day?" He said, "Look it up in the dictionary." He told me he read Emily Post's entire book of etiquette. Then he grabbed a cherry, pulled the stem off, and tied a knot with his tongue. 2 amazing feats, I thought. Well, time to go. He walked me to my car. He gave me a piece of paper with his name and phone number. I looked down and was bewildered. I said, "Why fake your name when you can fake your phone number?" He said, "No, really. That is my name, Brian O'Brien. I was named for King Brian Boru, the first and only Christian king of Ireland, who ousted the Vikings." "Really?" I answered. "So what's your middle name?" "I don't have one," he replied. "Well, Brian, my name is Janet Janet. Goodbye." Over the next 7 months, we ran into each other and became friends. In May 1996, we were boyfriend and girlfriend status. He was a tennis pro at Palmacia. I dropped by to watch him. At that time, he was conducting a clinic for children. And this is Brian O'Brien right here. He didn't realize that I had stopped by, and I was listening to him. So he was yelling, "Okay, hotshots, okay, who wants to play King and Queen of the Court?" Everybody shouted, "Yes, King and Queen of the Court." Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to volley to each and every one of you on a one-on-one basis. If you hit it out or fault, then you're out. So, as each kid missed it, everybody sang in unison, "Na na na na, na 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 na, hey hey hey, goodbye." Well, King Brian won, of course. Brian was one who loved to celebrate Christmas, St. Patty's Day, Kentucky Derby, and his birthday or my birthday. His favorite screen sirens were Catherine Deneuve, Anne Margaret, and Candace Bergen. Brian loved his family and he loved his friends. Traveling was a highlight. We ski-dooed in the Glacier National Park. We attempted snowboarding in Blacktail, Montana. We enjoyed the Buffalo Bill Historical Center in Cody, Wyoming. We went to Boca Grande. His A in his astronomy class really provided wonderfulness for us because he pointed out all the stars in the sky for me. And during the day, we actually were able to pick up fossilized shark's teeth. His A in etymology class really helped him in crossword puzzles, which he did on a routine basis. He loved poetry and quotes. One of his favorite quotes was, "Life is a tragedy for those who feel, and a comedy for those who think." Jean de la Bruyere. Well, mine now is tragedy plus time equals comedy. Fraser. On the night before Brian died, he told me that he had fixed my computer so I could write my children's book. The day he died, February 21st, 2004, was so sad, and all of us were very shocked that he died of a heart attack at the age of 53. Nobody could do the eulogy. Nobody felt strong enough, or they just couldn't do it. So the Irish priest officiated and did a fine job with the Catholic funeral mass. When the soloist began to sing Danny Boy, there wasn't a dry eye in the audience. The priest said, "May we all meet again in heaven," which is an Irish proverb. We had an Irish wake almost a month later on St. Patty's Day at Moyle. It got so big that we had to go to the disco room. This is the Moyle's that was on Del Mabry. Next day I flew to Altoona, Pennsylvania for a wedding, my childhood friend's wedding. While I was sitting next to a passenger on the plane, she had asked me if I had a boyfriend. Well, that started our long talk, and she said that her husband's mother died when he was 4 years old. So many people along the way have had to say goodbye, as I had to. At my friend Jane's wedding, I learned that her best friend Etch, her brother had committed suicide 2 years ago. She had mentioned that she had to say goodbye to, and that she wanted me to come to her wedding in November. Still hoping for a satisfying end, I still was very sad. I decided to go to the wedding in Raleigh, but also take a pit stop to Chattanooga, Tennessee, where Brian O'Brien's cremains are in a mausoleum. I thought this would be pretty good closure for me. Well, I really got a really big fat closure. I got a pink slip from work. So, I flew jobless to the cemetery. I was greeted by a beautiful mockingbird in the trees. And then I went on to fly to Raleigh. I remember Brian used to say, one time before when I lost my job, "Janet, just say goodbye with a smile. Don't worry about it." And then I said to myself, well, I fired them. I got back home, jobless, started a scrapbook of Brian. I read a bunch of grief books, and a lot of them were either too religious or too pagan. So I decided to work on a scrapbook because I had taken numerous photographs of Brian O'Brien. I decided doing my scrapbook that it's not really just the history of Brian, but his legacy that has gone on. I'm still very close to many of his friends and family. I've met a lot of nice people along my journey. Goethe said, "Life is a childhood of our immortality." Tom Robbins says, "It's never too late to have a happy childhood." We all have to say goodbye sometime. You might as well do it with a smile. You'll feel better for it. Almost 8 years later, in Toastmasters 1810, Brian O'Brien, thank you for the history and the legacy. I say goodbye with a smile. Love, your goodbye girl, Janet from your home planet. Hit it, Josh.